Ooh, now we're really talking. What's up? Welcome back to Vlogmas. I still sound bad, I still feel bad, and that doesn't matter. We're gonna be talking about something that I'm going to install on the Evo, but before I do that video, I'm just gonna do a straight up review. That says an LED flasher. This is a strobe controller. So I'm gonna use it to make something bounce left and right on the front of the car, something on the back of the car. I should probably fix this. I feel stupid with it flopping around. Anyway, all right, let's dive in. So this is from Rigid Industries, and it was like 42 bucks on Amazon. So I've done a lot of different versions of these, and they all basically look the same. It's just something that's like a whole, it's a potted little thing. That's the potting epoxy. It's got a little thing on there that's gonna give you a little bit of breakdown of what does what. Cool, well, my mic died, so now audio is gonna sound different, but whatever. So this is what I like to do. I like to run red and black wires to a remote control so I can turn on and off power to this unit. Then I like to take the white mode wire that also just needs 12 volts given to it so that it can change the mode. So I like to run that to the second button on a remote control. So I'm actually gonna show you the remote control that I use. We'll rig everything up together and we'll start playing with this thing the way that I suggest you do. Sound good? All right, this is the Anzo USA 4-channel remote that I like to use specifically for things like multi-channel control, not for anything else besides I'm shallow and that's pretty sexy. I don't know, I just think that that's a better looking remote than, for example, this ugly stupid thing. I don't know, like why somebody decided that that's how that should look, I don't know. This looks better. It actually looks just like the GTR key that I lost, which, by the way, is why I thought it was in my pocket when it turns out it was just a replaceable remote instead of a $1,000 Nissan key. You probably have no idea what I'm talking about, which is fine. Anyway, let's pull this thing out. It's very, very basic. You've got power and ground, power, ground, power, ground. 4 channels, 8 connections. It says minus, plus, minus, plus. A monkey could figure this out. It's very, very basic. So all we're gonna do is back out 2 of these screws. Okay, and then we're gonna put the connections there, and then back out 1 of these 2 screws and put that other power connection there for the mode, and then test it. Okay, so for the sake of being extremely practical, I'm gonna take some of these bulbs. This is actually a red version of the new FlyRyde reverse bulbs. They're super bright, and I wanna just show off what this would be like if it were a taillight setup, okay? So what we're gonna do is we are gonna take our 2 pigtails, T10 pigtails, we're gonna combine our ground wires, and I'm just going to, for the sake of ease, put that ground connection right on this, because I know that that is a ground connection used for channel 2. I could probably have done this easier just simply by connecting them where the main ground is hooked up there, but I wanted to be interesting. So we're gonna go right and left. If you remember earlier, our right connection is yellow. So we're gonna go yellow to right. And then we're gonna go blue to left. Wow, look at these wires everywhere. It's so tidy. It's so professional. All right. Boom. We're strobing, we're strobing, we're strobing. Now, what I don't have is a momentary setting for this. I just have power on, power off, okay? So when you hit button 2, you're gonna push it. It's gonna click once. That's the same thing as holding it down. You're gonna push it a second time to release that. That is what's gonna change our mode. So let's try it out. Holding it down, letting go. That changed the mode. So we were on mode 1, now we're on mode 2. Let's see what mode 3 looks like. Okay, C4. Wow, that looks exactly the same. Sure, it's different. It looks the same. Okay, try mode 5. Clearly different. Okay. All right, got an idea. Maybe this will make things more interesting. So, what if now we decide we want to add stuff, like let's say this is the back of the car, it's red, right? That's where this all plays in. Now let's mess with the lightning bolts that I said I was going to use, and we'll hook those up to this as well, but maybe we'll crisscross them so that when the left taillight is flashing, the right lightning bolt is flashing, and then vice versa. So it's going to do kind of this thing. Let's see. And then again, power off, one button. Strip the ends, connect the other wires, it'll look more tidy, we'll be good. Ready? Ooh, another video is gonna come up after this one showing a dual input circuit, and you'll understand why you would use that later, but that's next video. So imagine that the front of the car has these, and the rear of the car has those, and it's just bouncing back and forth, actually in like a diagonal pattern. So those, then those, then those, then those. Pretty interesting stuff, and it's a $40 kit. I mean, it's not super intense. So I think it's going to be a really cool thing to see on this Evo. I'm looking forward to doing that. I'll show you the whole install video, talk about how I'm going to do that coming up. Have you guys ever heard of the Great L Stig? That Great L Stig? Do you think they should hit the like button?
Hit the like button.
Hit the like button! Okay, so check it out. When I was making this setup for the video yesterday, I couldn't tell how bright these things looked on screen. Now, I did notice that when I looked at the footage later, it wasn't very bright. And I thought, that's so weird, because I remember on the GTR that I put, it's gonna be at the end of this video, had the same issue, and I wanted to test something. So I tested it, and I found something very cool out. If I just use a relay and I trigger it with the output from this flasher module, and then I have a direct shot of 12 volts straight from the relay to the bolts, they're gonna flash way freaking brighter. So this is advice to you if you want to get the maximum light output. Like if you're flashing light bars that are extremely bright, no big deal. But if you're flashing LED stuff and you want to get like maximum voltage out of it, do what I'm about to show you how to do. I'm going to use these guys now as triggers as opposed to as the power source for the LEDs. I have this relay set up. Now there's two relays, one for each side. And what you're seeing right here is the power coming through these LEDs is coming from 12 volts that goes into this remote control setup. From the remote control setup, it goes down to this flasher or strobe control setup. And then eventually it makes its way all the way down this blue wire. It ends up hitting the bulb and the lightning bolt, and it's flashing that bright. I happen to know that these things are way brighter than they appear to be right now. So what I'm gonna do, instead of sending power directly from the strobe controller to the product itself, I'm gonna send that power into a relay to trigger it. All it's gonna do now is send a full shot of voltage directly from the battery or from whatever, you know, on the car, right to the LED product. And instead of it being a much lower light output like this is, it's gonna give it the full 12 volt shot of power that it needs to be really bright. So I'm gonna hook up the relays, and then you'll see side by side the brightness comparison. Okay, so we have two things happening. One is that super annoying clicking, which I don't care about because you would never hear this on the actual car. But I'm not sure if you can tell, like I can tell, this is crazy brighter than that. I'm gonna film it on the camera way up close. All right, as if that weren't bad enough, I am now going to hook up this other one as well. What we're gonna do is change it so that this is now powered by the same little setup as the other guy. And then I'm gonna plug this thing directly into the other relay, right? Yeah. Ooh, now we're really talking annoying. That is awesome. Holy God, the clicking is going to make me go crazy. So check it out.
I just showed you a couple easy components. We did some relays, not a big deal. We did the strobe controller, also not a big deal, and the little remote control setup. I wanted to break those down individually in this video to show you how you can mess with these things on a bench, how to get the most out of them in the case of like those bolts. I don't know if you'll have products that'll do the same thing as those do, where they don't light up at full brightness, but I do think that if you have any issues and things aren't getting the full shot of power that they need to work at, like, I don't know, their peak performance or whatever, just throw some relays in there. It'll basically take the problem of not getting enough power, and it'll get way more power. So that's a cool thing that you can try. Let me know if you have anything that has similar results. Get the strobe controller, try it out, see if it puts out full power. If it does, those little LED bulbs seem like they're working great, so good for those. But the bolts, not so much. So anyway, you'll see me install these things on the Evo coming up next. You'll see how to turn those things into a wire harness, make it all come together, and I will see you on Vlogmas tomorrow.